You heard the man. We will build a team that no one wants to play against. Hello sweet friends, welcome back to Football Therapy with me, Stan. Hope you're all doing well, mate, and welcome to Chelsea News. That's right, it's back, the daily series here on Football Therapy where I give you Chelsea news. And let's be real, friends, there is so much going on around Stamford Bridge Chelsea Football Club at the moment. The circus continues, but it's an exciting new time with a new coach, an excellent coach, who hopefully will bring Chelsea through into a new era with an excellent squad. So there's a few things to talk about today. Potential outgoings still in this transfer window, who Tuchel is likely to play, who he wants to play, and what he said about his tactics and formation for this Chelsea squad. So keep yourself locked in, subscribe to this channel if you've not yet done so, because there's so much coming at you. Make sure the bell notifications icon's switched on so you get notified when I upload and you're the first to know this new Chelsea information. Alright then, get comfortable, relax as we get into today's video. So yeah, it's pretty mad that Thomas Tuchel tenure started with a drab draw. Lots of alliteration there, but there's positives there and an indication that Thomas Tuchel is willing to try some radical changes to get the best out of what is a very interesting and talented squad, which leads us into our first story of today regarding Tuchel's comments on what he wants to do with this team. Thomas Tuchel, at the end of the game in his post-match presser, explained that he set up this particular way against Wolverhampton Wanderers just to nullify their threat on transition. He doesn't necessarily have a big ambition to play a three at the back system for Chelsea Football Club, but he explained he did want to deploy a back three in this game with, in his words, two number sixes sitting in front of the three to defend in transition, hence being able to make Callum Hudson-Odoi a wing back because he expected him just to stay forward and hold width basically, which he did. Essentially the two sixes were Kovacic and Jorginho, which, let's be honest, as a midfield pair are not very attacking. They sat in front of the back three and Chelsea were safe in transition, but a couple of chances. Of course, Neto went through and put the ball over with his dink. So off the bat, what can we learn from Thomas saying this? He's saying, look man, I touched down at Cobham, I didn't have much time at all. I spoke to the Chelsea coaching staff that I work with, namely Anthony Barry, Joe Edwards, and maybe some analysts, and they told me all they could as quick as possible about Nuno Espirito Santo and Wolves as a team. And I went, right, dangerous on transition, defensively resolute, I'm going to play a back three with two sixes in front and try and use width with wing backs, which he did. He also explained, don't take anything from this lineup, it's massively unfair. I just picked out of the bunch I looked at the moment to try and set up this way. And to be honest, you can kind of understand that with the two sixes, with Kovacic and Jorginho. On the face of it, they're more defensive than Mason Mount, so it's not the fact how he just didn't want to pick Mason Mount. He was like, right, for this, I'm going to do this. I can talk fluently to Kai Havertz, quickly assert my idea. So I don't think anyone should read into the selection really at all, and pretty much the formation as well. We could probably expect a completely different formation in the next game. Well, maybe not, because we're playing Burnley and they are also very dangerous in transition. But you know what I'm trying to say, friends? It was for this game, for this instance, Tuchel is a tactician. He changes around a lot. I really like the way he talks. I liked how after the match he talked about the amount of ball recoveries in the final third, basically offensive turnovers. He kept saying that to the media, which tells me he's a bit of a sort of an analysis and stats nerd. And so am I, you know me, so I like that. Anyway, that's story one, letting you know about the formation and personnel choice. Let's move on to the next story in today's video. And this one's kind of sad. Young Billy Gilmour are likely to be pushing for a loan in the next few days out of Chelsea to basically ensure he gets enough playing time so that he can try and seal his place for the Euros this summer, because he will need game time. Now this is kind of sad because Billy Gilmour not only is should be playing in the Euros, he's good enough to start in this Chelsea team. In my opinion, if you watch this channel and if you watch my content on Football Therapy, you'll know how highly I, talk and think and feel about Billy Gilmour. I think also he could be perfect under Thomas Tuchel playing underneath him. I think he could be like his Scottish Verratti. Small in stature, can stick a tackle in, very progressive in terms of pressing and moving the ball forwards. I see a lot of Verratti in Billy Gilmour. Verratti's a world-class midfielder. So it's really, really sad. I can kind of understand why he'd want to push for it. And also, I don't, lay any blame necessarily at Tuchel's door. He's got a bloated squad with a lot of senior midfielders, and one of his first jobs he has to do is create unity in the squad and harmony to move forwards, so everyone's moving in the same direction. And that actually is a fine balance of keeping everyone happy and maybe playing kids that are really good. You got to mould the squad first. So although personally I think Billy Gilmour would actually be a perfect fit for Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea and for Thomas Tuchel's ideology of football, I could sort of understand if he goes out on loan. It's highly disappointing because Frank Lampard's last press conference, he was asked about this from Matt Law of the Telegraph, and he said, look, it was open, but if he's playing like this for me, of course he can't go on loan because look at the effect he has on the team. I mean, Frank Lampard finished that comment with, we're keeping it open, because personally, I think maybe he might have already knew he was going to be sacked by then, or knew there was a high chance, like it was likely. So maybe he wants to say, I don't want to say definitively because I don't want to do anything to damage this club, even if I'm going or cause trouble, because, that's what Frank Lampard is like. So it's difficult. Let me know what you think about Billy Gilmour down in the comments section below. I think it would be very, very sad to see him go out on loan, but maybe it's the easiest thing for the new coach in terms of, like I said, squad harmony, and maybe he can get the best out of other players. Although saying that, watching Jorginho, I don't want to slander Jorginho, but for me, he's not for this Chelsea team anymore. I understand he's a good character, he trains well, he is good at football in certain systems, in Sarri ball, he's good metronomic passing the ball. I think also it suited him yesterday to just keep moving the ball, but ultimately we couldn't break down the team and score a goal, so I'd much prefer Billy Gilmour character in there personally. Let me know your thoughts, get down in the comment section, talk about Billy Gilmour as we move on to the next story in today's video. Sticking on midfielders that Thomas Tuchel might like, another thing that caught my attention was his comments on N'Golo Kante, who is of course injured at the moment, and you would have expected him to start yesterday had he been fit. Thomas Tuchel explained how he is a massive fan of N'Golo Kante. Frank Lampard said something similar when he came to Chelsea, and he said he's been trying for years, for a long time, to get N'Golo Kante in his teams. Basically, PSG were trying to sign him for a long time, and this is confirmation from the boss of PSG, Thomas Tuchel, that he was trying to use Paris Saint-Germain's incredible wealth to try and buy N'Golo Kante for his Paris Saint-Germain side. He wanted to bring him to the capital, he wanted to buy him. He said he's been chasing after him for years, and now he has him. He just had to come to Chelsea to have him. So that's positive. Getting the best out of N'Golo Kante is essentially getting the best out of your team in many ways and winning titles maybe. And Kante, I don't think he's 30 yet, is he? He's 29, I believe. So, Tuchel will try and, if Tuchel is only at Chelsea for 2 years, maybe he can squeeze the best out of N'Golo Kante while he's here. Will he play? To be honest, I probably think he'll play a midfield 2 and put Kante in there if that's the case. And maybe that's, that is how you get the best out of Kante historically. At Leicester, at Conte's Chelsea, he was always in a 2-man midfield. Yes, he can play as a lone 6. We've seen that under Frank Lampard. And he can play as a sort of 8, sort of a hybrid 8, played that under Sarri and indeed Lampard. He can do all of that. But personally, I think Thomas Tuchel would look to play N'Golo Kante in a 2-man midfield and try and get the best out of him there. Chelsea are going to try and keep the ball in the opposition half under Thomas Tuchel. That's what he said. He says he didn't seem overexcited about the amount of passes, although Chelsea broke the record for passes this season against Wolves last night in the Premier League. I think that he's looking to do that. Defending in possession is great, but I think he just wants to play the game of football in the opposition half. But in that case, you're always vulnerable to transitions. But Thomas Tuchel will know that. He's a great tactician. Of course, Frank Lampard in his first season, Chelsea were massively vulnerable to that and kept conceding goals. Granted, we got a little bit better at it, but Thomas Tuchel will be, absolutely astute in protecting his team from this, And N'Golo Kante would be integral to that. To be honest, I'm really looking forward to what he comes up with next. It's a shame we're playing Burnley straight away, because I think the approach would be rather similar to what we saw against Wolves. Although Burnley are in scintillating form, they're out here beating Liverpool, they're beating an in-form Aston Villa that played really, really well, and they'll look to do the same against Chelsea, Burnley. So Thomas Tuchel has to use these precious days that he's now got on the training pitch, which was not afforded to him before the Wolves game, and put something together. Look at Burnley, look at how they defeated Liverpool, who obviously are a high possession good team like Chelsea, and be like, right, this is how we do it. We beat Burnley, we move, we march on. Anyway, what do you guys think? I'm really keen to hear your thoughts and opinions on Thomas Tuchel's tactical setup and midfield options. Do you think has to start N'Golo Kante? Do you think it would be sad to see Billy Gilmour go? Who do you think would be prominent players in this setup under Thomas Tuchel? I mean, it's easy to say Havertz, Pulisic and Werner, and now N'Golo Kante, of course, but who else do you think will end up playing? Do you think Kepa will end up playing for his footballing ability with his feet? Who knows, eh? Get down in the comment section below, I'll be down there reading your thoughts. Please do drop a like on the video, it helps me out a lot. Consider subscribing to this channel if you're new. Enjoy the football, and I'll see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I love me baby.